our November TBR. Yeah. Pick them. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, we're not doing the TBR jar this month because I did not finish the vast majority of my TBR for October. Okay, I did all right, but not the best. So we added some more from October, and then I added a couple different ones. So 8 books here. I kind of just have a random assortment of books that I picked up off my shelves, but I kind of wanted some that were like just a cozy vibe, but also some that were gearing up for Christmas, but also still kind of staying in like the spooky vibe. So obviously some of these are from October TBR, so they're going to be more like fantasy vibes, but I feel like I haven't read a lot of fantasy or been in the fantasy mood. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get through these books this month. But the first book we have is Small Angels by Lauren Owen. This is a book of the month book from August 2022, apparently. I've had this one on my shelf for a little bit. I think I thrifted it. I didn't get it from book of the month, but it looks very interesting. This is actually a fantasy book. It follows 3 different girls, I think. It follows our main character, Kate, who is, she had, like, grown up on the edge of these woods in this, like, little village, and she ends up meeting this girl, Lucia, and her sisters who lived, like, in this area as well. She becomes very fascinated by them. But they're kind of like strange, and they end up all going into the woods, and something very dark is awakened in the woods, like a spirit, I kind of think. And she's been haunted by it ever since. It's now in like a past present kind of situation. And then it is also following Chloe, who is the sister-in-law, or going to be the sister-in-law of Kate, our main character. Sam is her brother, and he is marrying for their marriage, and they're going to actually be going back to this small town in this little church called Small Angels for the wedding. And as they're getting there, Chloe is kind of starting to hear a lot of stories and just sense some very strange things about the area and the church. Having to come back here and reconnect with Lucia and to kind of protect and learn more, kind of protect her family from what is happening and the thing in the woods. So I'm really excited for this one. It looks very interesting, and I think that it's going to be like the perfect little fall fantasy cozy book. So I'm excited for this one. This one, I actually just want to read you guys the back because it looks so good. This is a mystery thriller. It's called An Ideal Chiller Thriller. It's called Bitter Orange by Claire Fuller. This is a psychological drama kind of vibe. But yeah, I'm gonna read that because I want you guys to just hear what I'm seeing. If you haven't, it says, from the attic of Linton's, a dilapidated English country mansion, Frances Jellicoe sees them. Kara first, dark and beautiful, then Peter, striking and serious. The couple is spending the summer of 1969 in the rooms below hers, while Frances researches the architecture in the surrounding gardens. But she's distracted. Beneath a floorboard in her bathroom, she finds a peephole that gives her access to her neighbors' private lives. To Frances' surprise, Kara and Peter are keen to get to know her. It is the first occasion she has had anybody to call a friend, and before long they are spending every day together, eating lavish dinners, drinking bottle after bottle of wine, and smoking cigarettes until the ash piles up on the crumbling furniture. Frances is dazzled, but as the hot summer rolls lazily on, it becomes clear that not everything is right between Kara and Peter. The stories that Kara tells don't quite add up, as Frances becomes increasingly entangled in the lives of the glamorous, hedonistic couple. The boundaries between truth and lies, right and wrong, begin to blur. Amid the decadence, a small crime brings on a bigger one, a crime so terrible that it will brand their lives forever. I think this sounds so interesting, and honestly, it sounds like a movie. It sounds like, or like a TV series. Like, it sounds like so psychologically thrilling, and these are like my favorite things, guys. Like, the amount of podcasts, true crime podcasts, and like mystery thriller books that I listen to on a daily basis at work is crazy. So I'm really excited for this one. I don't know, it's just kind of been that fall for me. It's either a fantasy fall or it's a mystery thriller fall, and that's what it is this year. So we have The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton, which I evidently thrifted for $4. This one, is a spellbinding novel of family secrets, murder, and enduring love. This follows 16-year-old Laurel Nicholson, who witnesses a shocking crime that challenges everything she knows about her adored mother, Dorothy. Now, 50 years later, Laurel and her sisters are meeting at the farm to celebrate Dorothy's 90th birthday. Realizing that this is her last chance to discover the truth about that long ago day, Laurel searches for answers that can only be found in Dorothy's past. Clue by clue, she traces the secret history of three strangers from vastly different worlds thrown together in war-torn London: Dorothy, Vivian, and Jimmy, whose lives are forever after entwined. A gripping story of deception and passion. So this one looks pretty good. It honestly gives me the vibe of like Kristen Hanna books. And I love a good historical fiction, English countryside drama. So I'm really excited for this one, and I feel like it's going to have some fun twists. Also, it's like the perfect floppiness. It smells pretty good too. It smells like a good classic historical fiction. So just what I need for the fall. And then we have a book that I've actually already started, but I'm really wanting to continue, and I feel like it's the perfect time for it. Because I'm going to be nestled up in bed, probably crying when I read this. So this one is called On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This is a book, it's set up as like a letter from a son to his mother who is an immigrant. It's written when he was in his late 20s, and the letter unearths a family's history that began before he was born. It's rooted in Vietnam, race, class, masculinity, and current American moment of violence and trauma. I would definitely say check trigger warnings before you read this book. Even just like starting this book, I was already feeling the feels. But it has a very poetic and very like emotional, gripping writing. So I'm really excited to continue this one, and I'm sure that I'm gonna love it. So I'm also just scared that I'm gonna cry. Thistlefoot. This one was on my October TBR. It's by Jenna Rose Nethercott. This one is kind of gives me the same vibe. Honestly, the reason I got it is because it reminds me of Bony Legs, which was a childhood classic that I read when I was a kid, and it was about a witch who lived in a house. It was a house on chicken legs, and she was like super creepy. This little girl like tried to get through, and she was like chasing her around, and it was a pivotal book in my childhood. Even though I'm not good at describing it, obviously, but I feel like this is going to give a similar vibe, kind of, but it's about a brother and sister who's street performer and con artists, but it seems like they're actually grown now, and they're not, like, very close. They don't speak to each other, but they end up inheriting Thistlefoot. It's a house from the Yaga's ancestral home in Eastern Europe. They end up being requested to go visit the land, so they have to see each other again, and they don't know what it's going to be. They think it's going to be a lot of money, but it's actually this house that they're inheriting, and there's also this man that comes along with it, the Long Shadow Man. I feel like it's just going to be like the perfect spooky vibe, but a very like riveting storytelling kind of book. And what's the word? Kind of like a fairy tale-esque. So I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited for this one. Another one from my October TBR is The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This one I have never read. I have read the first 4 books, Throne of Glass, the first 4 books in the Throne of Glass series, but not the novellas. So I'm really excited to read this one. I've been anticipating it for a long time, and I'm actually going to read this one, and then I'm going to reread the rest of the series. The only ones I haven't read are this one and the last 3 books, which are like the biggest books, obviously, of course, but I'm gonna reread the whole thing because I feel like I just need to get better understanding, not being like 17 years old. I'm like grown now, and I feel like I need to reread it. So I'm excited for that one, but I just need to like get into it so that I can feel immersed and like feel that urge to continue it, if that makes sense, because I know I will. Like, I know I love this series, but I just need to like get into it, you know. And then we have The Atlas Six, which I already mentioned, by Olivia Blake. This book just is already so good from what I've read. It's like a secret society. They're basically all fighting for like this one position of like, they all think they're going to like win, I think, as a magician. Kind of just all vying to be the best, but they all have different talents as magicians, and I just think it's going to be so interesting. It has that like dark academia vibe, that fantasy magic realm. I just love it. Like, I think it's going to be so good. I can already tell, like, the illustrations in this book are also just stunning. Like, the writing is beautiful. I've already started it and I already want to annotate it. So, is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I've heard, I can't remember what her name is. I saw her on TikTok. She's stunning and she does really good book reviews, and I can't think of her name, but if I find her and I remember, I want to say it's like Athena something. If I find her, I'll post her here. But she talked about this author a lot and I ended up thrifting this book. I just feel like these books are so stunning. Like, I feel like the cover looks beautiful. It gives beautiful historical fiction vibes. But this is actually, Elena Ferrante is an Italian storyteller. This book is, I don't know if it's like based on truth or what, because the main character's name is Elena. But this is a book set in the 1950s about these girls, Elena and Lila, who are growing up in Naples on the rough streets, and they're like best friends. And I just feel like this book is going to be such a good vibe. Yeah. And then, yeah, but I'm really excited for this one. I feel like it's just going to be beautiful. I'm really hoping that I like this. Those are all the books that I'm hopefully going to read. I'll probably read more because I'm sure I'll listen to like audiobooks. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!